Most people can't tell you what they want. Go ahead and try it. What do you want out of life? What do you want out of a relationship? What do you want out of a job? However, almost everyone can tell you what they hate. It's much easier. What does your partner do that pisses you off? What do you not like about your job? What annoyed you yesterday? Our brains are wired for the negative because that's what kept us alive back in caveman days. Today I want to talk to you guys about the inversion principle, which was, I think, pioneered by Charlie Munger, which is Warren Buffett's right-hand man, co-investor that they've been working together for, I don't know, 50, 60 years. And he talks about, like, basically, instead of trying to find what you do want, identify what you hate, and then flip it. It's much easier. And I've used this in several aspects in my life successfully, and I want to share it with you today because I think it's very powerful. In my life, I've really just tried to remove things I hate. I don't strive for happiness. I think that's illusory and kind of like chasing your tail. What I do strive for is to remove things that piss me off, and my life becomes better as a result. For example, and this is going to sound obnoxious, when I became a psychologist, my first place at my new job, I did not have a dishwasher in my apartment, and it drove me crazy because I like to cook, and there was a lot of dishes everywhere, and I don't know, I just don't like doing the dishes. And so I was like, okay, how do I remove that from my life? It was either, buy a dishwasher or get meal delivery, and I just did meal delivery, and ta-da! I became a little less angry every day. Similarly, in the city I was in, traffic was insane, as it is in a lot of major metropolitan cities. And, I think they've done studies where, your cortisol is going to spike automatically in those types of situations, even like if you're a Buddhist monk or something. And I do struggle with just getting easily annoyed. And traffic was one of those scenarios. And I was like, okay, well, this is pissing me off. How do I solve this problem? And, I got a Tesla eventually. And I'm just like saying these out loud, and you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, well, that's great. I don't have a lot of money. And so, okay, that is very fair. I would say, okay, do you hate having not enough money? Good. How can you solve that problem? But I look at money just as a tool to solve problems of things that piss me off and make my life easier. So I digress. But if you find yourself saying like, oh, this guy, yeah, it's easy for him, he just has money, solve the money problem, because it is a solvable problem. I promise you out there are people dumber than you who have made a lot of money. I've also found that this works great for relationships. I know I don't want to date a girl who's negative and complains. I know I don't want to date a girl who's entitled, because that really pisses me off. I know I don't want to date a girl who's flaky, and that drives me insane too. So I screen for that, and I remove those people from my life. And wouldn't you know, I found a great girl who didn't do those things, who was on time, who was compassionate, who zero drama, and coincidentally, my life was a lot more peaceful. So think about, just in terms of dating, like, what do you not want in a partner? Come up with a list. And then, you come up with the opposite word. For example, if I find a girl, what I don't want is someone who's really negative. Okay, I want someone with a positive outlook. Flip it. I don't want someone who's flaky. I want someone who's on time. And so you can really identify all the things you want in a partner pretty simply by just identifying the things you don't want and then flipping them. You can do this for friendships too. I mean, a lot of them there's a lot of overlap. For example, I don't want a dishonest girlfriend or a friend. Like flakiness is a huge annoyance for me because I just feel like it's insulting to my time. And I think everyone's time is valuable. I don't want to waste people's time, and I can't stand when people waste my time. So I don't want to have a friend who's going to be an hour late every time, or who cancels at the last minute after I, cleared out my schedule, things like that. And again, that weeds out all the people who have those traits, and then only who's left are the people who are like on time and like, positive. Apply this in your work life. For me, I don't like being micromanaged. I don't like being told I'm walking too much around the building. I don't like being told to look busy, even though I have nothing to do. I have a low tolerance for stupidity. And, that weeds out a lot of jobs, if not all of them. I'm sure there's some great jobs out there. But so, by removing that, I'm forced to do something else. Like you kind of like, it removes all the other options, so then you find the option. So entrepreneurship for me was just the default, because there's really not much else that would fit the criteria of me not being micromanaged, me not having like a strict schedule. So by default, I have to do this if I don't want to be like micromanaged. So like I said before, why this works is because our brains are wired to see negativity more easily. And this kept us alive. Like if we saw the tiger, the saber-toothed tiger, that's what kept us alive. Those who didn't see it, they did not pass on their genes, and they're not here right now. To the best of my knowledge, there is some evidence to suggest that there is a negativity bias we have. I know there's evidence to suggest, like, if you're depressed and things like that, like you have a negativity bias. But anywho, I think on average, it's easier to identify the negative than it is the positive. You know, like for those like getting out of college or leaving high school, there's like this pressure to say like, oh, I need to figure out what I want from life, what I want to do from life. Um, I would imagine you feel that at various points in your life. However, I think like I said, I think you just need to know what you don't want. And after you weed all the things you don't want, you're going to find the things that are more of a good fit for you, that are conducive to your personality type and lifestyle fit. So if you're not where you want in life, whether that's occupationally, relationship, financially, identify what you don't want or what you hate, flip it, or see if there's one thing that you can do to work towards it today.